To all African American men that asked whether or not they can find themselves good wives in Africa, yes, 100% you can find yourselves good wives in Africa. I'm sure you can find yourself a good wife anywhere in the world. But if you are moving to Africa, 100%, I can tell you now that Africa has of the most beautiful women, of the most kindest, understanding women, 100%. But here's a tip, right? When you do come to South Africa or you come to Africa, the 50-50 thing that you guys do that side, ne? Leave it there. Leave it there. Please understand that the feminist movement, our ability to participate in it is very limited due to our traditions and our culture, so culture and traditions supersede any participation in any movement, the feminist movement being one of it. So it's probably not a bad idea to leave that 50-50 in the States, because you will also see that there's a video that I did of a gentleman that had asked whether or not Africans like African American men. And if you go to the post, you will read that a lot of women said no due to the fact that they do not want to do 50-50. Now, this does not mean that we do not have good women. It just means that at the end of the day, culture is important, And as women, we do understand that we need to be supportive, understanding, loving, and caring towards our husbands, and we will do that. We also understand that we need to work together towards a common goal, which is to make the marriage work. And we will work, and we will help, and we will support. But the 50-50 thing is not a prerequisite for the relationship. I'm just letting you know. And if there's an African man or a man that tells you that we do 50-50 in Africa, unamanga, they are lying to you. Do not listen to them. I'm telling you now, they are lying to you. And I'm sure there's a lot of women that can back me on this. The 50-50 thing, it's not an African thing. Tradition will always supersede everything else. I'm just letting you all know. I'm just, you guys asked me for advice. I'm giving you advice. This is a tip from me to you so that you can come and you can get yourself good wives. Now, I wouldn't want you to miss out on an opportunity to meet a good wife just because now you have asked her to split the tip or split the bill for a date that you asked her on. Now she needs to pay for her food. No, guys, no. No, don't do that. You might just miss out on a really good wife. So don't say that Samantha didn't tell me. I did. I'm telling y'all now. Do not ask an African woman for 50-50. And if any other African man or men have told you that, it's a lie. It's a lie.
By now, you guys are probably very familiar with the SYSBM and Passport Bros movement, which is continuing to gain traction. And I support women and men who are going out there trying to find their best option. So that means a man feels like he has to leave the States and go to another country to find a wife. And if he wants to do it, then good for him. But what's so interesting about this video to me is that many of the complaints that I've heard from men who are grabbing their passports or who are wanting to go abroad is because they're having a hard time finding traditional women, feminine women, supportive women, cooperative women, all of that. This is one of the main complaints that I've heard just from different people within that space. So now, for those gentlemen who do go abroad and who do decide to find women who are more traditionally feminine, the expectation would be that they're going to be paying, because in many of those other cultures, that's actually what the setup is. First off, if you are going into a traditional setup, if you're going into a nation or into a country that is underdeveloped or less developed than you, then yeah, most people are going to be looking at you as the person who's better financially well off. People are going to be looking at you as, someone who has money, someone who has resources, someone who is in a better position. So to me, it is quite surprising that there are women saying that, there are different American men coming over expecting them to pay half. Like, to me, that is surprising, especially when the men are going into these different places looking for traditional women, looking for non-American women, but still asking those women for essentially an American dating standard. I don't know how common this is. honestly, I don't pretend to be the expert at all on what the dating market actually looks like internationally, in Africa, in South Africa in particular. I don't know. So I'm curious to hear from you guys. What I have heard from different creators in the space, shout out to Obsidian. He's been very candid about how sometimes there are men out there who can want, fit, feminine, friendly women, but be dusty. I've heard Obsidian talk about this. I've even heard O'Shea Duke Jackson talk about this. So they've held men accountable in their own way. Is this a situation where there are men going over with unrealistic expectations? Is this common? I'm really curious. Like I said, I'm not the expert on this, so I'm curious to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think, and do you agree? Is she right? Is she right to say, hey, man, if you are coming over into this culture, you have to respect the traditions of our culture, and that basically means if you're a man, you're paying. It just is what it is. Like, this is the culture. We have a strong culture that's not changing. Is that right? Let me know what you think. Leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below. Thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.